And I second what Gavin said. Gavin, thank you very much for coming and hanging out today. How's it going? Hope you're all having a great day. I know it's Easter Sunday. I expect a much smaller audience today. But I'm happy that you guys are here. I wanted to be able to provide the show as we do every Sunday. Now, you might notice that I'm all by myself today, and that's because Lloyd is sick. Lloyd is not feeling very well. Let me just make sure that I say this exactly right. Yeah, so Lloyd's sick, and they tested him for COVID-19. And so far, it seems like he's fine, but he's under the weather and doesn't want, he needs his rest. And happy Easter, everybody. But that's why it's just me today. So I hope you all will all join me in wishing Lloyd well. It seems like he's got what I had about a month and a half ago, where I was just absolutely slammed and I was barely hanging on. Not barely hanging on. I was obviously exaggerating there, but I slept for days, days and days and days. And when you're sick like that, one of the worst things that you can do is talk. So it's actually quite exhausting to talk. Have I thought about if I had COVID-19? That crossed my mind. The doctor that I went to see said that it was flu. So it was probably not COVID. Plus, I live in the middle of nowhere. Like really, really far away from everything. So the chances of it getting here before it got everywhere else are pretty slim. And it's still hanging on. Like, I was sick, and I still have a little tiny cough. It's nothing big, but it's definitely still there. So today will be obviously different, but, the show must go on. We can do this. If you haven't already, make sure you click on that like button. It really, really does help. So how's everyone doing today? I'm expecting far fewer people than we usually get, and that's perfectly fine. But I wanted to be able to put a show together for the people who aren't super busy on Easter. We used to kind of go nuts on Easter and hide all the eggs and stuff, but, our youngest is now 12, and he's not quite as interested in that stuff anymore. So, we just did a basket of candy and a couple of gifts for the kids. Thank you, Chris. Excuse me. So right now we're in pre-show mode. I'm just going to have conversations with you guys. Anybody here that's new, who's never been here before, because you just tried Stadia for the first time this week? I'm curious. Hello there, Jonathan. Lots of green names. I gotta say, all of you people, the green meanies, not really meanies, it just rhymes. Thank you guys. That's a vast majority of the revenue that Lloyd and I generate. It comes from members, so thank you very much. Jason, happy Easter to you as well. Somebody has been driving down the street honking their horn with the Easter Bunny waving from the back of a truck. Is the Easter Bunny at least sitting down? Because that, like, I'm just waiting for something awful to happen. Louis B is a first-time Stadia user. Louis, what's the first game that you played? That's actually really brilliant. If we had, like, a town, that would be an awesome thing to do here for people. But we don't really have a town. We have one stoplight. And, like, everything else is so spread out. He was sitting. Okay, that's good. I remember when I was a kid, we would regularly ride in the back of my dad's truck. If we went anywhere, we would just hop in the back of my dad's truck and, the wind in our hair. I lost more than one hat due to sitting in the back of my dad's truck and turning my head the wrong way and the hat going right off. Airlend, hopefully I said your name properly. Much love. What is this cast about? This cast is about Google Stadia. So, welcome. By anybody else who's new, if you look right here, you can see my Twitter handle as well as where you would go to check out our Discord over at runjumpstomp.com. How do I get internet where I am? We have cable internet. So, it's fine. I have 300 down and 20 up. And my internet's pretty good. There's some upload reliability things that have happened in the past, which kind of drive me crazy. But for the most part, my internet is fairly reliable. My dad lives less than 10 miles away. He can't get internet. When he was so my dad has lived on the same plot of land his entire life. He inherited this plot of land from his parents, and he and my mother built a house on the edge of a cliff at the edge of the plot of land. And that's where he lived for decades. My mom and my dad split up when I was very, very young. So I lived with my mom in the city, which is not really a city. But I lived with my mom in the city, and I would go to my dad's on the weekends. And then, he's been married a couple of times. It's my dad. And he ended up with his current wife, who he's been with for, I think we're going on 25 years now. They ended up building a new house further away from the cliff and tearing down the old house. And when he did that, he decided he had these telephone poles going from the road to his old house that would brought electricity in. And he decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bury these so I don't have these ugly telephone poles making my, the view from my house look bad. So he hired a backhoe. Excuse me. He hired a backhoe, and, they dug a trench, and he did all of the guidelines and stuff. And then he called up, I believe at the time it was Time Warner Cable, which has since been bought by Spectrum. He called up the cable company and said, "Hey, I would like your internet service, please." And they said, "Well, give us the address." And he said, "Okay." And he gave him the address, and they said, let's try this. $5,000. And he said, well, hold on a sec. I already dug the trench. So you don't have to do that. All you have to do is give me the wire. I will put the wire down. I will encase it in the plastic so that it's protected from the elements. I will do everything except hook it up to the pole, which I'm not allowed to do. And they said $5,000. Because where I live, there's no competition. In most of the United States, there's no competition when it comes to internet service providers. We just changed our furnace filter yesterday, so I'm feeling... anyway, there's no competition. So while I am on a ridiculously good internet connection, comparatively, my dad, who lives less than 10 miles away, has terrible internet that he gets from a Verizon MiFi pack that they rent from Verizon, and they have a very small amount of data that they can use each month. So whenever their phones get updated, whenever their laptops need to be updated, they drive to my house and we all have dinner and they update their stuff because they don't want to burn through their monthly amount of data that they're allowed to have. So when somebody says, Bill, you live in the middle of nowhere, how do you have good internet? I live in exactly the right spot. And it's ridiculous that the internet companies in this country are allowed to rip the American public off the way that they are. Simba says, that's why we need StarLink from Elon Musk and SpaceX. I'll believe it when I see it, Simba. I feel like there's a lot of hype surrounding that. And I don't believe them. I don't think it's going to work as well as they say it will. I don't think it's going to blanket everywhere as well as they say it will. But I would be very, very happy to be wrong about that. Anyway, we're coming up on 90 people hanging out right here. We've got 27 likes so far. If we could get all of you guys to click on that like button, that would be awesome. David says, Bill, do you think Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered is going to be on Stadia? Well, so far we don't have any Activision games on Stadia. And we don't have any EA games on Stadia, although we know that EA games are working on bringing their stuff to Stadia. We don't know how well... I'm sorry, I got distracted. We don't know about Activision stuff, so I don't know if it's going to happen. I think eventually just about everything will come to Stadia. Regor says, I talk about StarLink the same way other people talk about Stadia, with skepticism, and I think it's fine to have healthy skepticism. I currently have no way to test StarLink. But here's the thing. I'm ready to be wrong about it. That's the thing. That's the difference between me and a lot of the Stadia skeptics out there, is that I'm okay to try it out and say, well, I was wrong about that. It works fine. Because if you go back and you check out Lloyd and I's show before Stadia actually came out, when we were just talking about the idea of it, we were cautiously optimistic, but there was a healthy dose of skepticism about whether or not it was going to work. Gavin says, all I want is Diablo 4. Please, Google, make it happen. Kaylin, I agree. They They need to make that wireless change. My guess is it has to do with UI stuff that has not been finished yet, and things that need to happen with the app. And since COVID-19 has kind of taken everything over, my guess is that kind of stuff got put on the back burner. Erland says, I think Stadia needs to step up their current game inventory. I agree. And so does Stadia. And so does everybody else. Anybody who says that that we don't need any more games on Stadia is just somebody who is myopic. More games would be better. That being said, I think that there's something for everybody on Stadia. Do I have a lot of people that I know that have joined since release? Goblin Lord. I mean, most of the people that I know in real life are not video game players. Most of the people that I know in real life are teachers because I'm a teacher. And very few of the teachers that I speak to play video games. And I also live in a very rural area, and many people who live where I live are unwilling to pay to have high-speed internet. I pay extra for high-speed internet because I am a streamer. I stream on Twitch over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. If you haven't already followed me over there, please do. I stream here on YouTube. So having a good upload speed, having a good upload speed is incredibly important to me. So I pay extra for that good upload speed because it's part of my business. Admittedly, my very, very small secondary business, but it's part of my business. Do you think they will fix the keyboard and mouse issue on Stadia? Because I really want to use keyboard and mouse. I think as VP9 becomes more well used for the browser on Stadia, then the keyboard and mouse will get better. But I think personally, I think of Stadia first as a console, even though it's not a console. Hold on, I gotta text something to my daughter real quick. Robin says, when do you think we will hear again about the AI latency reduction techniques that they want to apply? I don't think that they need to tell us about that stuff. Telling us about that stuff, it just sounds like buzzwordy nonsense. And while I'm sure all of the stuff that they're talking about is real, I'm not accusing them of saying anything that's not true. It just doesn't sound real. So people latch onto it and use it as an anti-Stadia thing. See? You know, that kind of thing. So I don't think it makes a lot of sense for them to talk about that. Most people who have decent internet, who've tried Stadia, have said, wow, it friggin' works. Who would have thought? I wouldn't have thought that it would work, but it works. So what I think that they should do instead is just work on getting more games. That's really what Stadia needs to do. All right, let's pause the music. That was our pre-show, everybody. Now I'm going to record the actual podcast, which I'm going to do that in sections. Usually I do it all in one shot with me and Lloyd, but I'm going to record it the way I record my Nintendo show, Nintendo Switchcraft, where I record it in sections, and I'll take breaks between sections and talk to all of you. So stick around. Matthew wants to know, have I used the Stadia Plus extension? I have not, and I will not. I don't trust it. I'm not saying that I know anything outside of the fact that it is a third-party extension that hooks into my Chrome browser, and that makes me very, very nervous. Very nervous. And this is coming from somebody who knows very little about how that stuff works. So the person who is very cautious. There's a lot of people floating around here inside my head, and the person who is very cautious is winning out on that Stadia 2.0 or Stadia Plus, I think it's called. That being said, I know that there's a lot of people that use it and they swear by it, and that's fine. I just don't trust it. I prefer just to play it on my Chromecast. I don't play it in the browser like ever. All right. So here's the show notes. Let me copy the show notes and get them over to you guys. And I am recording. I think I am. Take me a minute here. It says not responding. Oh, there we go. All right, now we're recording. All right, here we go, everybody. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stadiacast. It is the place for all of the Stadia news that you are looking for. Before we get started, we record this show live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Stadiacast. If you're wondering, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're wondering, hang on a second, where the heck is Lloyd? Lloyd is sick. He is under the weather and asked if he could take today off, and I said, I'm going to dock your pay. But yeah, he's not feeling well, and you know, one of the worst things that you can do when you're not feeling well with like a cold or something like that is talk. And so he wanted to not do the show today, and I said, absolutely, man. You get healthy first, and we'll talk to you next week when you're feeling better. See, he's smarter than I am, because when I'm sick, I can't make myself not do what I love to do, which is, you know, sit in front of a microphone and talk to all of you. He's much smarter than I am. So everybody, you know, who's hearing my voice right now, wish Lloyd well, so that we can hear from him next week. If you want to directly support Stadiacast and you're here with us live, make sure to use that super chat feature, and that directly supports us and also makes sure that I get to see your message. Right now, there's over 100 people in chat, and it makes it easy for your message to be seen. And I promise that I will respond to each and every super chat in the second half of the show or in the post show. You can also, whether you're here live or not, you can become a member of our channel. If you want to know more about that, click on the join button right below the video. All right, so I'm going to start the show off today with what have I been playing. This week, I finished Doom Eternal. Oh my God, what a masterpiece of a game. Now, there's going to be a full review coming from me at some point in the near future. I need to get my thoughts together on it. You've heard Lloyd and I gush about this game for weeks and weeks, but I finally finished it, and I don't feel like I can fully give a real review of a game until I have finished it. But I finished it, and man, what a masterpiece. It is so good, and I had so much fun with it. And honestly, while I'm very happy to be done with it so that I could move on to what the other stuff that I've been playing, it's just wonderful. And if it had kept going, I would have been fine with it. It's so good. So now you don't have to watch the review video when it comes out or listen to the review podcast when it comes out, because I just told you, it's just amazing. It's amazing. If you haven't picked up Doom Eternal, go pick it up. It runs incredibly well on Stadia. And for all of you guys who are listening at home, thank you, big thank yous to the chat who are saying, get well, Lloyd, get well, Lloyd, get well, Lloyd. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. Another game that I wanted to play more this week, but I just really didn't get to very much. I played another chapter in Lost Words, Beyond the Page. I don't know how many, like, I don't remember what chapter I'm on, but man, that game is awesome, and the writing is fantastic, and the art is wonderful, and the voice acting is really, really good. I'm very much enjoying Lost Words. However, that's it for what I've been playing on Stadia. Now, why have I not been playing Stadia? Well, because two big games have been absorbing all of my time. Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch. I've been playing that a ton. In fact, I opened up my Nintendo Switch the other day and somebody asked me how many hours I have in it, and I looked and I was shocked to see that I spent 75 hours playing Animal Crossing already. And I feel like I could just keep playing forever. That game is so amazing. I know this is a Stadia show, but if you have not played Animal Crossing, you are missing out on a wonderful game. And then 2 days ago, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. And again, that's not on Stadia, so I won't really talk about it here. But I'm on chapter 3, I think, of that. And I'm so very happy to be playing that. I loved the first Final Fantasy VII. That was for me, Final Fantasy VII was really the first JRPG that I actually got into. I mean, I had played Dragon Quest when I was a kid, or Dragon Warrior, actually, is what it was called. But I never really got into JRPGs until I played Final Fantasy VII. So I'm having so much awesome nostalgia with the game, as well as the changes that they've made. So that's what I've been playing this week, which admittedly, not very much on Stadia, but I did finish Doom, and I'm so happy that I did. It's a wonderful game, and I hope that you guys will check that game out because it's awesome.
Now you can play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system. Donkey Kong has multiple screens, just like the arcade game.
All right. So that was the first segment. Let me take a look at what people were saying. You guys are awesome for saying "Feel Better, Lloyd." Can't wait to play Final Fantasy VII after I finish Doom. I was sitting there. I was playing against the last guy on Doom, and I was telling my wife. Well, and then I had to stop. Like I was like halfway through the boss fight, and I had to stop because it was dinner time or whatever. And then, we did all of our post-dinner stuff, and my wife and I came up and we sat down and watched a show or something. And we were talking about whatever it is that we were going to do the next day. And I said, well, I'm hoping that I can finish Doom before Final Fantasy VII comes out, because I wanted to finish it before the actual launch so that I could actually enjoy the launch without feeling guilty for not finishing Doom. Because here's how my brain works. Is if I stop playing a game, I struggle to get back to it. I really do. So I finished Doom, and then the next day Final Fantasy VII came out, and I had to record an episode of Nintendo Switchcraft, which actually took a bunch of time that I wasn't planning on. I mean, not the recording of it, but the other stuff that goes along with making a podcast, because there's a lot more to making a podcast than just sitting here. And then I did a bunch of other stuff that day, and every time I looked over at my PS4, I said, okay, I want to play Final Fantasy VII, but I don't think I have enough time right now to start playing. So I didn't play it at all on that launch day. I didn't play it until yesterday. All right, let's record the next segment. Here we go. All right, let's move into the news. And there's some pretty big news this week. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, then you already... Let me start that over. Sorry. Delete all. This is one of the advantages of doing the show differently is I can do a new take. All right, let's move into the news, and there's some pretty huge news this week. Of course, if you're listening to this on the podcast or if you're watching this on YouTube, you already know about the big news this week. And the reason you already know is because earlier this week, I did a YouTube video where it was actually like, I think 10 minutes after, well, maybe 30 minutes after they announced this, I put out a video about it because it was huge, huge news. And then that same day, Lloyd and I got together and we recorded about a half an hour conversation about this news and posted that to the podcast feed. Now, if you only listen to the podcast feed, then you missed out on the YouTube video. And if you only watch the YouTube videos, then you missed out on the conversation between me and Lloyd. So here I am suggesting that you check out both. All right. It's free to subscribe to YouTube. It's free to subscribe to the podcast. So anchor.fm/Stadiacast for the show and youtube.com/Stadiacast for the video. All right, check all that stuff out. But what was the big news this week? The big news this week was Stadia Pro is free for the next 2 months starting today. This was on April 8th, so it's now been 4 days. We've already used up 4 days of our free time. Not really. But I'm not going to go into this too much. I highly recommend that you listen to Lloyd and I's conversation about this or go and check out the YouTube video that I already made. It's huge, huge news, but we've already covered it, so I'm not going to retread everything. I will say this. You're going to be seeing a lot of people out there who are now going to have really good experiences with Stadia, who have not tried it before. And you're going to see people out there who are having really bad experiences on Stadia who have never tried it before. And do not assume that any of those people are lying. That's a thing that I see everywhere on the internet. I can't go a day without somebody calling me a paid shill for Google. I don't make money from Google for doing this. I don't. They do not pay me to do this show. So, and even if they did, which they don't, I would still be honest about what I think. And I think that Stadia is really, really awesome. But just because somebody really thinks that Stadia is doing really well doesn't mean that they are being paid by Google to say so. And just because somebody had a bad experience with Stadia doesn't mean that those people are haters that simply want everything to fail. Because the people who have a bad experience on Stadia, that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind about Stadia. While it works wonderful for me, I have great internet. I have a really good router at home. And so I'm going to have a really good experience with Stadia. But somebody who has maybe the router that their internet company provided to them, and maybe they don't have the best internet access, they're not going to have as good an experience with Stadia as I do. And that's the big difference between Stadia and other consoles or PC at home, is not everybody gets the same experience. And that's something that we have to keep in mind. So when you see somebody say that they were trying to use Stadia and it didn't work very well, instead of calling them liars, instead of saying that they just hate on everything, I mean, it's perfectly possible that they hate on everything, but instead of accusing them of that, offer to help. Offer to help. Point them in the direction of the fact that you're supposed to have a certain speed in order to get a certain resolution. Ask them what kind of home Wi-Fi router they have. Ask them if they're using Ethernet, because it's definitely a better experience when you use Ethernet. Now, I do also have to point out that I have a really good Wi-Fi router in my house. And in this room, in this studio, when I'm playing games on Stadia, I don't have any issues, and I'm on Ethernet. And in my there's a room across the hall from me that has a TV and a Chromecast that when we built that room, I wish that I had remembered to install Ethernet, but we really haven't needed it, and I haven't run into Wi-Fi issues in that room with Stadia. Maybe once or twice since I started using Stadia, But for the most part, it's been fine. So you're going to see a lot of people on both sides of the spectrum that are saying, yes, it's working great. No, it's working awful. Try to help the people who are saying that it's not working very well. And guess what? It's okay to say that then maybe Stadia isn't for you. If you don't have good internet, then maybe Stadia isn't for you. And that's okay. Not everything has to be for everybody. I can drink Pepsi and you can drink Coke and we can all still be friends.
Tunnel Runner from CBS Electronics, where the excitement never ends.
I'm not trapped. I'm not trapped.
Did you hear about Amazon's cloud gaming, which is called Tempo? Yes, I did hear about that. I mean, we knew that Amazon and Twitch were going to be doing something sometime. We still don't know when that's coming, but you can be sure that we'll cover it when there's something to cover. Actually, I don't drink Coke or Pepsi. I drink water. Look at this awesome glass my wife got me. She always gets me the best gifts. Centipede. Says Atari on the back, because she knows I love retro stuff. What's the podcast info again? Anchor.fm/Stadiacast. I think that link should work. And by the way, you guys, every single time that the podcast gets downloaded, Lloyd and I make a little tiny bit of money. Not a lot, just a little tiny bit of money. So even if you're not going to listen to it because you prefer to watch the YouTube videos, subscribe to the podcast. It costs you nothing. Set it to automatically download the podcast and then automatically delete the podcast, and we'll still make money. You'll be helping us make more of this kind of content that you guys like. All right, let's talk about some new games on Stadia. Whoops, I did not mean to make that full screen. All right, we've got some brand new games coming to Stadia. Well, they're not brand new. These are games that are already out on other platforms. In fact, I've already played a couple of these, but they're new to Stadia, and they're coming soon. Well, soon. We don't know. Well, do we know when? I forget if we know the dates. I don't think that we do. Let's take a look at what... Let me start that over. Oh, you dummy. Wait. Oh, cancel. Save. Hold on. What did I do here? Ooh, that was scary. All right. Let's talk about some new games that are coming to Stadia. Well, they're not exactly new games, but they're games that are new to Stadia. The first is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. This is a game that I've already played. I played it on Nintendo Switch. I received it as a review copy because I have a Nintendo Switch podcast called Switchcraft, which you can download wherever you're listening to this show. But basically, you play as this boy who gets turned into a pig. Okay? He gets turned into a pig, and all of the other people in the kingdom are also turned into different kinds of animals, but you have the ability to change to different types of animals based on what things that you need to solve. It's kind of a Metroidvania style game. It's really actually fun. It starts really badly. That's the thing that I want to say about Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is when I first started playing it, I did not like it a bit. All right. When I got further into the game, I liked it a lot more. I don't think that they put their best foot forward with Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, but it is a really good game. So let's see what exactly they have to say about Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. They say there's nothing quite like getting lost within the worlds of adventure games like Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Republic, and West of Loathing, which are arriving this year for purchase on the Stadia store. Explore the hand-drawn characters of the Monster World Kingdom, escape a dangerous futuristic world, and embark on a zany quest through the Wild West. So that's kind of a list of all of the games that are coming. Monster Boy is a legendary series that returns with a brand new adventure. Enjoy a colorful action-adventure game made alongside Ryuichi Nizuzawa, sorry about the pronunciation there, creator of the original Wonder Boy and the Monster World series. I will say this, it has a fantastic art style, all looks hand-drawn, really, really well done, and I am a fan of the art. When I first saw the art of this game, that's the first thing that jumped out at me. I adore it. It's a 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania-style game where you can turn into different animals. So you have 6 awesome forms. It'd be like a man, a snake, a pig, a dragon, a lion, and something else that I can't think of. You unlock these new paths and secrets with the equipment that you have. And I guess it says that it has over 15 hours of epic adventure. I get distracted by shiny things and never finished it, but I did really, really enjoy the game once I got past the pig. The pig part of the game is very, I would say, very weak. The pig part of the game is very, very weak. But once you have the ability to change from the pig to the snake to the lion and etc., the game opens up and it feels much, much better. So again, I feel like you know who did this better is Metroid, and here's how. In Metroid, you kind of start the game out with all of your stuff. You know, like if you're playing Super Metroid, you start out with all your stuff. If you are Metroid Prime, you start out with all your stuff, and then all that stuff gets taken away. So at the very beginning of the game, you get a taste of what you'll be able to do. And in this, you're extremely limited for a very big portion at the beginning. And that scares a lot of people off. All right, let's move on to Republic. Now, Republic, I have not played. I don't know anything about it. So let's see what they have to say about Republic. It says here, developed by Camouflage and published by Camouflage. Over 5 years, industry veterans at Camouflage made Republic. It is a thrilling and topical stealth action game that explores the perils of a corporate republic. You receive a call from Hope, a woman trapped inside a dangerous futuristic world. By hacking into the nation's elaborate surveillance network and taking control, you guide Hope through a web of deception across 5 thrilling episodes. So, you know, I have not played this. I don't know anything about this game. I'm curious to those out there if you've played this on other platforms. Is this an episodic game? Or because the way that they say 5 thrilling episodes makes me think that it perhaps is an episodic game. So hopefully somebody in chat knows the answer to that. Again, if you don't watch the show live, you're missing out on a lot of conversation that people are having. Again, that's youtube.com/Stadiacast. And then there's West of Loathing, which I played on Switch. It is hilarious. It is basically you are in the Old West, except everything is drawn with stick figures, and it is filled with jokes. It almost feels like a point-and-click adventure. Here's what they have to say about it. Say howdy to the West of Loathing, a single-player slapstick comedy adventure role-playing game set in the Wild West of the Kingdom of Loathing universe. Traverse snake-infested gulches, punch skeletons wearing cowboy hats, grapple with demon cows, and investigate a wide variety of disgusting spittoons. Talk your way out of trouble. Oh my God, I cannot talk today. Talk your way out of trouble as a silver-tongued snake oiler. Plumb the refried mysteries of the cosmos and a wise, subtle bean slinger, or let your fists do the talking as a fierce cowpuncher. Those are the classes in the game, by the way. Explore a vast open world and encounter a colorful cast of characters, some of whom are good, some of whom are bad, and a few of whom are ugly. Now, as far as that game goes, I don't think that that's true. It is not colorful. It is in black and white. The whole game is in black and white, and nobody's ugly because it's all stick figures. But it's a really funny game. If you are somebody who likes to laugh, then this is a game that you're going to want to check out. It's hilarious. They say features, it's got an open world with lots of quests, puzzles, and mysteries, hand-drawn black and white graphics. Okay, hand-drawn. I could draw this well. And I can't draw very well. I could draw this well. So don't get all excited about the hand-drawn. When it's funny, we've got two games in this list that are hand-drawn. And one has a wonderful, beautiful art style, and the other is stick figures. Not that stick figures are bad, but I just think it's funny that they lean on that hand-drawn part because that makes me laugh. Thousands of jokes, gags, and goofs. Crunchy turn-based combat, but only if you want it. Liberal use of the Oxford comma. Over 50 hats. Several gulches. A drunk horse. And it says, note, characters are not literally colorful. The game is in black and white. See, I beat you to the joke there, video game. Anyway, those games are coming later on this year. We don't know when. But, hopefully soon. Anybody out there who says that Stadia has enough games. I don't think that Stadia has enough games. I don't think any system has enough games. You can always have more games. And there's going to be people who look at these games and they say, oh, these games are 2D. Well, okay. 2D games are fun. They don't have to be AAA crazy nonsense in order for it to be a good game. I think that these are good games to add to the list of games that are already on Stadia. And I look forward to people being able to play them if they don't have any other place to play them.
Frogger, Sega's arcade game, now a home video game from Parker Brothers, the ones to beat.
There we go. Vaxxer says, tired eyes. I'm sorry that you're tired, Vaxxer. Ray Sherrod, thank you very much for the support. Gaming community loves you, Lloyd. Get well. Oh, man, I'm going to make sure I'll tell him about that. Vaxxer says, I wasn't talking to you, old man. Who you call an old man? Owen, please don't ask people to send you codes. That's like one of the things that irritates me most. All right? Don't ask people to send you stuff. Yeah, it's free. What are you asking people for codes for? I sounded like Wolverine just now. It makes me think of in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when the principal says something and his secretary goes, "Oh, Ed, you just sounded like Dirty Harry." And then he squints his eyes a little bit. It makes me laugh. All right, let's move on. What else we got? I can close that. Let me save what I've got so far. Okay, here we go. So one of the advantages of being on Stadia Pro is not only that we get a bunch of games, but we also get deals on games. And I have to say that so far on Stadia, the Pro deals, they have been pretty damn amazing. Lots of huge discounts. And I know that Google is doing like a lot of the work here by throwing money at the devs and saying, here, please put this on a deep discount. We'll pay the difference or something. Like, okay, I don't know that, but I assume that that's what's happening. But we've got some, I mean, not a wide array of deals. There's not a bunch of games that are on sale with this week's Stadia Pro deals, but there's a few, and some of those discounts are pretty hefty. So let's take a look at these real quick. This comes to us from community.stadia.com. If you did not know about that, that's where we get a lot of our stuff, is from the actual post from Stadia. It says, it's another good week to be a Stadia Pro member with special savings in the Stadia store on Red Dead Redemption 2, Kine, and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Stadia Pro subscribers can buy each of these excellent games now at a significantly reduced price. So Red Dead Redemption 2 you can get for as low as $47.99. That's 20% off. If you want to get the special edition, which I don't really know what that comes with because I'm not interested in Red Dead Redemption 2, but that's 33% off. That's down to $53.59. And then Red Dead Redemption 2 Ultimate Edition is 40% off, and that's for $60. So you could be paying $60 for the for Red Dead Redemption 2, which is how much it would regularly cost, but instead you're getting the Ultimate Edition, which I guess has a bunch of other stuff, and that other stuff comes up to $99 most of the time. That's a pretty significant discount. Now, that's not the most off. The most, or the highest percent off. The highest percent off is tied for Kine and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Kine is $10 off, well, it's $10, 50% off. So I guess I was right the first time. And Tomb Raider is the same thing. That's $10 US, and that's 50% off. Now, there's going to be a bunch of people who say, Tomb Raider, who needs that? I'm a Stadia Pro member and have been since the start, so I already have Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Yeah, but there's a bunch of people who just signed up, or didn't even have to sign up, but, well, no, I guess they did have to sign up, but who just became Stadia Pro members for free, and now they get access to these discounts too. So I think it makes a lot of sense for Square to take a game that was previously free with Pro and put it on sale for Pro, because we've got new people who were not Pro members back when that happens. Robin Mesmer wants to know, what is the difference between those versions of Red Dead Redemption 2? I'm going to look it up, okay? Because I have no idea. What do I think of Amazon's Project Tempo? There's nothing to think yet. They haven't said anything about it except that they're making it. If there's anybody that can compete with Google, it's Amazon. All right, let's look at the store. So the special edition of Red Dead Redemption 2 says that the Red Dead Redemption 2 delivers exclusive content for story mode, including a bank robbery mission, a gang hideout, dappled black thoroughbred, so a different horse, talisman and medallion gameplay bonuses, gameplay boosts, cash bonuses and discounts, and the Nuevo Paraíso gunslinger outfit, plus free access to additional weapons. Now let me find out about Ultimate Edition. And the Ultimate Edition has all of that stuff. In addition, it also has bonus outfits for your online character, rank bonuses, a different horse, and free access to the Survivor Camp theme. I don't know what that means. Plus free access to additional weapons and online. Ooh, I don't like the sound of that. Additional weapons and online. That sounds like pay to win to me. That makes me very, very nervous. All right, so there's your answer. So there is your answer. Thank you very, very much for the question, and let's move on.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home.
Save. Pratt says Stadia needs a game right now that attracts more players. All my friends got bored of playing on Stadia, and we have the entire library, and there's no competitive game. Sorry. I don't disagree that it needs new games. I don't think that you're wrong there. I'm not bored of playing games on Stadia, but I don't know what to say. I just finished Doom today. But you know, I'll talk about that at the end of the show. Let's close that. Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about that. All right, 9 to 5 Google has another APK breakdown where they look at the app and all of the little hooks that are in the app, and they talk about all of the stuff that it may or may not be able to do in the future based on the things that they find in the source code. And if I said anything wrong there, it's because I don't really understand how it works. It doesn't really matter. They understand how it works. This is the stuff that they found. Touch gamepad layout config. Okay, so one of my the reasons I think a lot of people probably wouldn't want to play a game on their phone, for me, is because my thumb usually gets in the way, and I don't like that. And Stadia solves that by giving you a little clamp that you can then use with a controller, and now that's not an issue. That's great. There are other people who would love to have touchscreen input on their phone. And the reason that they would love that is because they always have their phone with them. It's in their damn pocket. They don't have to also carry a controller around with them. And for some games, it would probably work really, really well. While for other games, it would be a disaster. Doom Eternal, touchscreen controls. No, thank you. I'm not interested. But there's a lot of other games out there where touchscreen controls could be completely fine. And it looks like there's a possible chance that we're going to be getting touchscreen controls coming to Stadia on Android in the future. So I think that that's very interesting. And it looks like it will be customizable. So they've got all of these different layout configuration placements. So it looks like you're going to be able to decide where these things go, which I think it seems very cool. It also says, digging deeper though, it appears Stadia's official touch controller could have one significant advantage over Touch Stadia, which is an app that already allows you to do this, a third-party app. I don't like third-party stuff. But it says, in that the virtual L2 and R2 triggers may actually behave like triggers rather than buttons. So if you're not sure what exactly that means, if I grab a controller, I've got my PS4 controller here, just because my Stadia controller's on the wall over there. If I pull on my trigger just a little bit, it's a different input than if I pull it all the way down. That is an analog trigger. Right now, if you're using Touch Stadia, this app that they mentioned on the 9 to 5 Google website, that is a button. It is either on or off. It doesn't have a gradual pull like the trigger does. So I guess what they're saying here is in the APK, it says on drag right stick, on drag left stick. So it allows you to decide how much you're doing that with the triggers. I think that that's very, very interesting. I can't imagine playing complicated games with touchscreen, but then again, we have seen like that kid who beat a pro Fortnite player playing on his iPad, where he wasn't using his thumbs on the iPad. He was using his all of his fingers on the iPad, and he was all over the place, and it was kind of amazing to see. So when you're talking about old people like me, I want buttons. Younger people, they like touchscreen stuff. I don't understand it, but you know what? I don't have to understand it. In the APK, it also has the hints of Android TV support, which I think is pretty good. I think there's a lot of people out there that have Android TV, but not as many as have Chromecasts. So I do understand that it's going to take longer for Google to support Android TV, but they want to have Stadia on as many different screens as they can. That's the way that they can win, is to have it on as many screens as they can. And so over time, they're going to be adding in more stuff, and it looks like Android TV is going to be able to use Google Stadia in the future. Now, here's the real question. This is a very, very big question. The only way that works well, let's say that I have an Android TV at my house. The only way that I personally would be interested in this is if you could use the controller wirelessly. I don't want a wire going from where my TV is to my controller. I am not interested in that. No, thank you, sir. Let's move along. Right now, the only way to use the Stadia controller wirelessly is using a Chromecast. So if they're going to do this, if they're going to add in this support for Android TV, if they're going to do that, then in my opinion, they have to unlock wireless play with other devices other than the Chromecast. Now, they have said a while ago that they were going to be doing that, and it hasn't happened yet. I imagine that one of the reasons that hasn't happened yet is because things kind of got put on the back burner with all of this COVID-19 stuff. Hopefully, we see that soon, because I know that there was somebody who plugged in their Stadia controller into their Android phone, and the phone started charging the controller, which means it was draining the phone, which is bad. You don't want that to happen. So it'd be better if you could just play with that controller wirelessly on your PC, on your phone, on your Chromecast, on your Android TV, or wherever. I think that would be the best way to go about it. Now, why hasn't this happened yet? And we go back to before Stadia launched. We talked about this at length. One of the things that I always wondered was how come they didn't do this? And it made much more sense once I started using it. You got to have the UI built into it somewhere. You got to have a way for me to say, this is the screen that I want to use. When you're using a Chromecast, you turn on your Stadia controller and you hit a series of 4 inputs on the controller, and that says, on this Wi-Fi device network, I'm going to look for all of the places that I could connect to for this list of codes. Oh, there's the one I'm playing on the bedroom TV. Oh, this is the code he put in. He's playing in his studio. Oh, this is the code he put in. He's playing on the TV downstairs in the living room. That's a very, very important thing to have. And right now, our phones don't have that UI. The Chrome interface doesn't have that UI. And I'm assuming that Android TV doesn't have that UI stuff built in. So that means that they need to get that UI stuff all kind of at parity across the board before we can actually have wireless gameplay. And in my opinion, this is something that they should have had at the very beginning. I don't understand why they didn't have it before launch, but hey, what are you going to do? All right, let's move on.
The Atari Video Computer System is 20 cartridges with 1,300 game variations you play on your own TV set.
Superian says, all of the Google software engineers can work fine from home. Sure, not as productive. If you have kids to take care of, and sure, some of the engineers are pulled into COVID efforts, but we are working. Oh, I'm not saying that people aren't working. I'm not saying that they're not working, but they have to prioritize. And that's not as big a priority as other things, I think. But yeah, just because they can work from home doesn't mean that suddenly their kids aren't there. You know, kids require attention, and the kids can't go to daycare. The kids can't go to work. That's going to slow things down. It's going to slow everything down. All right, so I can close that. Where are we? We're at 30 minutes. Okay. Our last news story today is about Borderlands, and this is actually very, very interesting. It's directly related to the COVID-19 stuff that we keep talking about. But Borderlands introduced a science game. Now, I have not loaded up Borderlands to try this out because I've been too busy playing a bunch of other stuff. But Borderlands introduced this new in-game game, which is very funny. I remember back in the days when I was playing World of Warcraft, and only World of Warcraft, we had games that you could play in World of Warcraft while you were waiting for your raid to get ready or something. Like there was match 3 games that we could play, if I remember correctly. Anyway, now we can load up in Borderlands and we can try this science game. And the science game is actually very, very interesting. Let me tell you why it's interesting. Because it helps with COVID-19 research, which is incredibly cool. Basically, they had computer analysis of DNA sequences. And computer analysis, of course, creates errors. Now, they need to be able to find those errors, and they know how to find those errors, but they need people to do it. So in order to find these errors, you're going to be playing a game in Borderlands 3 where your basic idea is that you need to match the same colors together. And I don't really understand how this works, but somehow by matching the same colors together, you are identifying errors in the DNA sequence that they did. And that helps speed up research for COVID-19 stuff. This whole thing is insane to me. I've given my quick view of it. Here's what they have to say. Play Borderlands Science inside Borderlands 3 to earn unique rewards and help map the human gut microbiome. Next time you're aboard Sanctuary 3 in Borderlands 3, keep an eye out for a newly installed Borderlands Science arcade game in the corner of Dr. Tannis' infirmary. Developed in conjunction with McGill University, massively multiplayer online science, and the Micro SETA initiative, Borderlands 3 Science is a puzzle game that benefits real-world scientific community as you play. Borderlands Science prevents you... Oh, gosh, I thought I remembered seeing this was about COVID. No. Corona. No, it's not. Okay. So this still helps with science, but it doesn't help with coronavirus or COVID-19. I must have misread that, or perhaps the tweet that that I followed to find out about this was poorly worded. Either way, it still does help with science. As a science teacher, I think that's super cool. Now, I don't like this particular kind of science because biology is disgusting. No, thank you. If I could get further away from myself, I would, because, living beings are gross. I am a geologist, so I don't have to worry about gross, sticky stuff when it comes to what I study. I study rocks and minerals, earthquakes, and space. That's what I teach about. So I don't have to worry about any of this gross stuff. But hey, now I can help with the gross stuff just by playing a game. It says, in case you're curious about the practical applications for the raw data gathered during Borderlands science, the human gut is linked to numerous diseases and conditions, including diabetes, depression, autism, anxiety, obesity, and more. By mapping these microbes, the hope is that scientists will be able to better understand these ecosystems, which may help guide future research into novel treatments. That's probably why I thought, because novel means new. And then they said no novel coronavirus, which meant new coronavirus. So I thought that maybe that's where I got the things mixed up in my brain. Anyway, new treatments and interventions. For more information, check out the MicroSeta initiative. And if you want to learn more about the methods, check out dnapuzzles.org. Or, you know what? Just hop in Borderlands 3 if you own that game and play it and find out, solve some computer problems that scientists need help with. I love that they're doing this. It's so cool. Very, very interesting.
The Game Gear Supersonic Sports Pack. You know who makes it.
Coffee? Tea?
Save. Damn it, Marie, they're minerals. But you see, rocks are made up of minerals. Rocks are the building blocks. I'm not a petroleum geologist. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about tar pits either. All right, we are on the second half of the show, and the second half of the show will be much shorter than the first because that's just the way it happened to work out this time. But we've got some comments coming in from viewers, people using that super chat button. Thank you very much for using that. By the way, don't use the super chat button if you don't have the money to spare, but use that like button. It's free and it feels so good. All right. Let's start with a super chat coming in from Ray Sherrod, $10 super chat. Thank you very much for supporting at that level. And he says, gaming community loves you, Lloyd. Get well. Yeah, Lloyd, get well soon, man. I'll make sure to tell him about that. He's a trooper, and he really wanted to come today, but it's better for him if he does not. Pratt by Themis. I always have trouble with your name, Pratt. He also did a $10 super chat, and he says, Stadia needs a game right now that attracts more players. All my friends got bored of playing in Stadia, and we have the entire library, and there's no competitive game. All right. So first off, the idea that there's no competitive game, I think, is kind of crazy. There's plenty of games in there that you can play competitively. You can play Destiny 2 competitively. I played a bunch of the... I can't remember what it's called, but the mode where it's like PvE and PvE at the same time. It's really, really fun. There's the awesome racing games that you can play. You can play Doom Eternal competitively. So there's those. But I do understand what you mean. There's not that Fortnite or Apex Legends or Warzone or anything like that. I understand. I know that that's what you want. Also, the idea that you and your friends are bored of playing on Stadia probably has to do with the fact that you've played a lot of the games that are on Stadia now already. I completely understand. Many of the games that are on Stadia right now are games that have already been on other platforms. You are not wrong about that. Goblin Lord X in chat is telling me that it was called Gambit in Destiny 2 that I was thinking of. Yes, it is. Thank you. My only recourse here, or my only reply, is the idea that you're not the target market for Stadia. Even though Google advertised all about resolution and frame rate over and over and over again, I don't think you are the target market for Stadia. I think lapsed gamers are the target market for Stadia. People who have not played games in a long time are the target market for Stadia. People who are Nintendo gamers might be the target market for Stadia, because they'll be able to play, maybe not now because it's so new, but in a couple years they're going to be able to play many of the games that are available on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. They'll be able to play those games on Stadia. Not the exclusives, forget about that. But the games that are on all of the consoles except for the Switch because they don't have the power to run it, those games will be on Stadia. And you won't have to pay any extra money in order to play those games. You just buy the games and you play them. And that is very, very compelling. And Google made a huge mistake when they started this by trying to go after the wrong part of the gaming market. And I can understand why they made that mistake. I'm going to give you an example of a company that made a very similar mistake, and it cost them dearly. Now, Google has infinitely more money than this other company does, so I'm not too worried about it. But NCSoft made an MMO called WildStar, and I played WildStar, and that game was rad. That game was super rad. I loved WildStar. I had so much fun with it. The dungeons were amazing. The way that you played that game was so fast and incredibly fun, but the way that they advertised that game hurt them in a huge amount. They advertised this game as the game for hardcore raiders. Which part of the gaming population are they looking for there? They're looking for World of Warcraft players, right? But what they failed to understand, and this is something only hindsight can work for you, but what they failed to understand is that the amount of the population of World of Warcraft that are hardcore raiders is infinitesimally smaller than the amount of people who play World of Warcraft. Most people who play World of Warcraft play it solo. Most people who play World of Warcraft played it incredibly casually. So when WildStar continued over and over and over to try and appeal to the hardcore raiders of World of Warcraft, they were shooting themselves in the foot, because that's a very small audience. And it's a very small audience who has been playing with the same friends, with the same characters for a very, very long time. And getting those people to step away from those characters that they spent years developing is a huge, huge ask. Let's say I'm a hardcore raider and I play my dwarven priest, who's level 100 or whatever back when WildStar came out. I might have months, literal months, not just having played it for months, but literal months sitting in front of World of Warcraft playing that character with my friends. And getting me to move over to some other game, not going to happen. I might try out another game, but I'm going to probably stick with World of Warcraft because that's where my friends are, and that's where my character is that I've been playing for a very, very long time. But WildStar didn't understand that, and they kept advertising to the hardcore raider, this tiny little segment of the gaming population that wasn't going to move anyway. And it like that's the reason that game failed. It was not because it was not a good game, because WildStar was an amazing game that had nobody playing it because everybody looked at it and they said, well, I'm not a hardcore raider. I'm a filthy casual. I'm not going to play that game because I'm a casual. And so they didn't end up playing it. And because the population was low, they didn't make enough money, so they ended up failing. And I feel like Google has made a similar mistake by advertising to the hardcore gamer when what they really should be advertising about, and I've said this a million times on the show, what they really ought to be advertising about is the convenience of Stadia. When you advertise the convenience of Stadia, of being able to sit in here and play a game and then decide, oh, my wife is sitting in bed reading. I'm going to go sit next to her while I play. I grab my phone, I open it up, I say play on the bedroom TV, send. I pick up my controller, I go to the next room, I connect my controller, boom, I pick up exactly where I left off. That experience is awesome, and they need to have commercials that show that. Not this guy floating around in a nebula somewhere with big glasses on. That's foolish advertising, and it does not help Google in any way to advertise Stadia like that. Nobody understands those. Those might be funny commercials. They might be memorable commercials, but they don't show why Stadia is unique. So, yes, Pratt, I agree with you. Stadia needs more games. But if you are somebody who hasn't played tons of games recently, then most of the games on Stadia are new to you. And if they're new to you, then you're not going to be bored with it. Anyway, thank you very much for sending in the idea for what to talk about. I appreciate it, and thank you for the support. All right, we've got one more super chat to get through, and that is from Christian. They say chances of Minecraft coming to Stadia. I don't know. I'm not sure. The way I think about it is Minecraft's on everything else. Why wouldn't they come to Stadia? But, you know, Microsoft owns Minecraft, and Minecraft was put on all of these other things before Microsoft, except for the Switch. Minecraft was on all of these other things before Microsoft really took over, except for the Switch. So maybe Microsoft will bring Minecraft to Stadia. I really wish that they would. I will say this. There was a video of a guy. I don't know who the guy is. He's obviously a huge YouTuber because Microsoft brought him an Xbox One X and said, here, show off some stuff about it. And he was playing Minecraft on the Xbox One X, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I would love to play that on Stadia. I don't know if it's coming to Stadia, though. I don't know. I think that there's a 40% chance that Minecraft comes to Stadia at some point. That's just me grabbing a number out of the air. That's what my gut tells me. I could be wrong about that, though. Thank you very much for the support, Christian. I appreciate the question. All right, that's it for the this episode of Stadiacast. Thank you, everybody who hung out with us live. Stick around for the post-show live, people. But if you did not follow the show on Twitter already, you can follow us at Stadiacast. You can follow me on Twitter at RunJumpStomp. You can join our Discord at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. My co-host, who is usually here with me and who is out sick today, is Lloyd. He has his own Discord server at resd.tv/Discord, and you can follow him on Twitter at Dasme. That's DASME. The music you're about to hear is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. Make sure you check out their stuff at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. I'll see you all next time. Until then, stay awesome, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. All right. There we go. We made an MP3, everybody. So there we go. We did an episode without Lloyd. We missed him. But hey, Jason Curtis has a good idea. If you're going to leave, make sure you hit that like button before you go. We got 127 people in here right now and 79 likes. So there's some people in here who have not hit that like button yet. Erland wants to know, do we know when the next Stadia update will be? No, we don't. Oh, no Sonic these days. You know what? I forgot to put, because I made this this open mic thing. I forgot to put the alert scene on there. So Sonic should show up. Let me see if I can get it to happen. I got to make sure I get this set up right. Stadia Arcadia, Bill, will you be taking part in Super Stadia Saturday? I don't know. I said that I would talk to Lloyd first, but he's sick right now, and I looked at the available times, and none of the times really work for me, so I don't know if I'll be able to. All right, let's try this. Oh, there's Sonic. The alert didn't come through, though. The screen is black on purpose because I'm trying to fix something. Oh, thank you, baby. You're the best. I needed that after talking for an hour.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah, it's a little cold.
I warmed up for these seconds. I didn't want to be
No, thank you. Oh. All right, let me try it again. Activity feed. There we go. I fixed it. Cheers. Happy Cloud Gamer, Bethesda's told us we will know when ESO is coming out at E3 2020, but Bethesda's not doing a digital conference at E3 2020. Do we know when it was coming out? You know what? I would expect that Bethesda is not doing a digital conference, but that does not mean that ZeniMax isn't going to make announcements. Stadia is hiring 30 new people. Yeah, send that in my links. I'm going to check it out. Thank you. Maybe I'll edit this in. Here, let's pause this. I'm gonna go ahead and insert that into the show. All right. Oh shoot! Hold on, I screwed that up. Let's try it again. Hot off the presses, everybody. Stadia is hiring. Over 30 jobs are opening in the Stadia Montreal studios. This comes to us from one of our listeners here, or live viewers just sent this to me in our Discord. And basically it says, this is a Reddit post. It says, hey there, quick info for all you Stadia fans. I used to have an alarm for jobs and opportunities that I never deactivated. So I still receive job alerts here and there that I usually open and discard quickly. Now, as many know, Stadia headquarters are located in Montreal, Canada, which is also my hometown. For the past few months, I saw that they are hiring big time. Here are at least 30 job openings as we speak for Stadia Montreal. And then you can just follow a link in the show notes if you want to know more about that. But hey, maybe you could work at Stadia yourself. What do you guys think about that?
Now you can play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system. Donkey Kong has multiple screens.
Buy a ColecoVision and a Coleco game cartridge by November 15th. We'll send you a free Cabbage Patch Kid by Christmas.
Oh, Pac-Man, I'm beat. And I'm hungry.
Thank goodness for Pac-Man pasta from Chef Boyardee.
All right, I had to, that was a repeat sound. All right, before I do anything else, let me copy those. We'll put it right there. Paste. Oh, shoot. Hang on. There we go. And then I got to put a marker there. All right, music back on. Zero gains for me. What do you mean everything about the PS5 has been a mess so far? All right, while we're sitting here and chatting, guys, I'm going to edit the show, which is going to be more involved than it usually is. But still, not too bad. Okay. Yourself. What do you guys think about that? All right, let me select all. First, I got to normalize the volume. It would be nice to see Resident Evil 2 and 3 on Stadia. I agree. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I would like more tea already. Hey, Bill, good stuff. Now that we have Stadia based and family sharing, we do not have family sharing, Louise. We do not have family sharing. What do you recommend would be the next step? Your subscription? I don't care about Ubisoft Plus. I really don't. That's really an Ubisoft thing, not a Stadia thing. What I think they should have is a yearly subscription without a doubt, and they need to have family sharing. This? Why is that so much louder? Hang on, there's a problem here. All right, let me delete that. There we go. Is there any others that are blue? All right, we're good. How do you think Stadia should handle family sharing? I mean, in a perfect world, they would handle it the way that PlayStation handles family sharing, because it's awesome. The way that Sony does family sharing is really good. I bought Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I've been playing it on my PS4 right here, and my son installed it on his PS4 downstairs. Do I think that's what they will do? Probably not. That's what I'd like them to do. Ray, I'm not sure I follow what you mean, buddy. Why are you talking about Mac OS? What's that have to do with the price of tea? Oops. Is that moving everything? No, it's not. Okay, hold on. All right, yeah, you'll be able to play online with other people, Night Razor. Oh, following up on other comments. It's hard for me to follow chat when there's 100 and whatever people there. You know what I mean? All right, 9 to 5 Google. Yes, bass players can buy any game on Stadia. Anthony Talcott, Serious Sam HD looks pretty good, and it came out in 2009. It's crazy how much graphics have improved since then. You're not wrong, but Serious Sam came out in 2001. 2001! Ray, yes. YouTube integration is very important to me. I don't know why I didn't say that. YouTube integration is very important to me as a content creator. Like, I would love to play Doom with you guys. But, right now, it's too much of a hassle. Like, it should be super easy for me to just say, all right, I'm playing Doom. Click the queue. People can join the queue, and then we can fight. All right, here we go, everybody. Oh, man. Hang on, I gotta edit something. Hold on. I'll throw it at the beginning. All right. Let's pause that. Hey, everybody, stick around after the show for a song that was made by a listener of the show, Eric B. They sent Lloyd and I an MP3 of a music that they made that basically integrates a bunch of the Stadia sound effects in it. So at the end of the show, I'm going to put that in. And without further ado, let's start talking about Stadia. Let me try that again. Hey, everybody, before we get started, Eric B. sent an MP3 to me. It is basically a song that he made out of a bunch of Stadia sound effects, so like all of the interface things, and I thought it was cool, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it at the very end of the show, so make sure that you stick around all the way to the end of the show so that you can hear Eric's awesome song, and big thank you to Eric for sending it to us. All right, let's get started on Stadia. All right, let's get started on Stadiacast. All right, let me edit that. Hey, everybody. Delete all that. B sent an MP3 to me. It is here. Aaron Stadia. All right, let's get. All right, let's. All right. Ah, no. Redo. See, all this stuff is the stuff that you don't see. Them podcasts ain't gonna make themselves. All right. And then I will put that the same loudness as everything else. And we will cut. And I'm going to throw that in at the very beginning. Regor says lack of big game because it will overflow free sign-ins. You think that okay, so you think if I understand what you're saying, you think that Stadia is holding back on big games because they don't want too many people signing up? I don't think that's true. Whoops. All right, let's see how this goes. It's an awesome song, and big thank you to Eric for sending it to us. All right, let's get started on Stadiacast. All right, and then I'm going to throw the song in at the very end. And we're going to extensions, loudness, normalize, -16. All right, there we go. There's Eric's song right there, right at the end. Actually, if I put it right there. All right, save. We did it. We made a thing, everybody. You love this camera angle, by the way. Thank you, Jar. It's actually the same camera angle that I've been using for a while, but I changed my lights. I changed my lights yesterday. I've got... I read a thing about how you're supposed to light a subject of a video or something. And they said to have the dark side of somebody's face at the camera. So I've got this light turned up a little bit brighter, which makes this side of my face brighter. And I've got this light turned down a little bit. So it's actually the same camera angle. In fact, I could show you the rest of my studio. Well, maybe. So there's my arcade, and then there's the rest of my studio. But yeah, it's the same camera angle that I've been using for a couple weeks now. Do a 360 spin. Here you go, Vaxer. I know that's not what you meant. But I can show you what it looks like. If you're not already in the Discord. Here, let me give you a picture of what it looks like right now. my credit card in my pocket. Oops, that's the wrong channel. Hold on. Am I going to have to do that again? All right, so I just posted it in the Discord. So if you're not already a member of the Discord, you should join it over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. I just took a picture of what you guys would see if you're me. And there it is, right there. Right there. Do we have to download the podcast to hear the song, or will you play it at the end of the cast? You have to download the podcast. I'm going to save that for the people who download the podcast. The red lights under the curtain is cool looking. Thank you. But hey, you know what? Red lights are red lights. The podcast is free. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. You can listen to it in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, wherever podcasts are downloaded. 'Tis free, my friend. I want you to download the podcast if you want to download the podcast. John McLaren, do I have any news about family game sharing? I do not. Oh, and I'm serious. Yeah. Download the podcast if you want to hear that song. That's right. You can even say, hey, keyword, play Stadiacast, and it will play the podcast for you. It won't play this one because I haven't uploaded it yet, which I should do right now. Oh, I haven't exported it yet. All right, let's try that. Let's actually render the podcast first. Oh, no problem, John. I'm just going to text my wife and see if she can make me another tea. Yeah, I want you guys to, interact with the show in as many ways as you can. Download the show, watch it on YouTube, come to the live shows, become a part of the community on our Discord. The more ways that you interact with the show, the more engaged you're going to be in it, and the more likely it is that you're going to stick around. So now we're just in open mic territory. I figured since Lloyd's not here, you guys kind of got ripped off this week. So I'm doing extra to make up for it, just to hang out with everybody. What do we got here? Baco just subscribed. Thank you very much, Baco. When did the Serious Sam collection come out? Well, the first one came out in 2001. The Real Jar, is the Discord still 18 plus? It is. I'm sorry. I'm a teacher, and I don't believe it is responsible for me to hang out with minors outside of a school setting. But I don't think that there's the same restriction for Lloyd's Discord, so you can join on that one. That's rezd.tv/discord. rezd.tv/discord. Oh, I could have brought that down. Oh, thank you. My wife is the best. What about Doom 64? We're going to be getting Doom 64. Everybody who has who bought Doom on Stadia is going to get access to Doom 64 when it comes out. I don't know when that's going to be, though. All right, the show is now... All right, I'm going to probably drop some frames while I upload this. You'd like to have picture-in-picture while playing games. What would you look at otherwise, JB? Now, JB, YouTube Music while I game. You know, when I interviewed John Justice, VP at Google, for the second time, I asked him about that, and he said that you know, if that's something you guys want, I'll put it on the whiteboard. How long was Doom Eternal for me? About 16 feet. Justin says, I missed your open mics on Thursday. You know, maybe I'll bring them back. Let me do something real quick. Here, vote in this poll. All right, let me go back to... Okay, that's processing. John McLaren, what did you ask? All of us who had Stadia from day one, let's suggest our games for new people joining with base. Guilt. Oh, man. You know what? Dwemer nailed it. Dwemer nailed it. Guilt and Darksiders Genesis are my like, I love those games. Doom Eternal is amazing, but it's not a game for everybody. All right, let's split the episode into sections. We'll do a break right here. And that would be at 11:59. Oops, that's the wrong... 11:59. Pausing the music.
CBS Electronics, where the excitement never ends.
I'm not trapped. I'm not trapped.
All right, split. And let's look at the next one. Probably here. 26:35. Just give me a second, everybody. 26. All right, 9 to 5. No, let's go back. Google has another APK breakdown where they look at the app and 26. The heck?
TRS
There we go.
Put the world of color computing into your home.
All right. Ah, too slow. Come on, Bill.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home.
Split. There we go. Save. Justin, you don't have a Twitter account to vote? Make a Twitter account. Twitter's fun. Splitlings with family is great. Yeah, but you got to have a bunch of controllers for that. Oh, Steam World games. Yeah, those are really good. I will say this. When playing Doom Eternal, my hands and my teeth would hurt after playing, because I'm like, you know? Come in. Hang on, I gotta talk to my son real quick. My son just told me that it's almost noon. I gotta buy my turnips. I have not tried those yet, but I've been busy. I don't know if I'm going to get there in time. Well, if mine are too expensive, I just won't do it this week. I'm hoping they get the controller price down. I don't see the prices of the controllers going down anytime soon. Oh my god, it's Bunny Day too. Sorry, I gotta try and buy my turnips before noon. No, that's okay. If I don't get him, it's not a big deal. You have a bad habit of leaning back in your chair while doing Doom Eternal jumps. I'm afraid I'm eventually going to tip it over backwards. I always have a bad habit of leaning forward. Oh, that's right. Did I see a refined version? Do I see a refined version of the controller coming soon? No, I don't. If they do updates to the controller, then what I anticipate happening is that the controller will be refined internally, and we won't really, like, you won't know the real difference when it comes to the controller. Like, it'll seem the same to you, but the internals would probably be different. That's the only things that I would see changing myself. But, you know, I've been wrong before. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to buy turnips in Animal Crossing. If you don't play Animal Crossing, you don't understand how ridiculous I am being right now. So I got to go to the ATM and pull out money. That's right, it's not a Stadia problem. That's right. Hashtag not a Stadia problem. Yeah, how would you want, Wabbit, how would you want the controller refined? What would you want changed about it? That's my question to you, is I don't understand what anybody would want changed about it. I think it's fantastic. It's super comfortable. I do wish that you had access to the screws so you could easily fix it yourself. But, you know, maybe not. You think it's a great controller? Like, I don't know what I would change. I don't really think I would change anything except for adding in, and they're never going to do this, but adding in gyroscopes. If they added in gyroscopes, that would make a lot of sense to me. But, you know, when I asked John Justice about it, he specifically said the developers didn't care about them, which is too bad because I think gyroscopes make aiming in first-person shooters really awesome. All right, I give up. I'm not interested. Don't worry about it. I got plenty of money in that game. You would like to see the controller act like a port for a USB-C keyboard and mouse? You know, there's no reason why they couldn't do that with a firmware update, though. Oh, move the button. Yeah. The layout of the middle buttons right here, I'm not a fan of this. I do think that they could do this better. I think that the menu button and the hamburger menu and the ellipses button, I think that they could be moved closer to the D-pad and the face buttons. If I were to change the face buttons at all, I would make the face buttons more like the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which you can't really see very well in this light, but they're huge and flat. And the face buttons on the Stadia controller are a little more rounded. I think that I would like the Stadia buttons to be a little bigger and a little flatter, but that's just me. But yeah, gyroscope is what I would want on this. Can you plug USB-C headphones into the controller? You know, I have no idea. I've never tried that. I don't have any USB-C headphones. I have AirPods. I have these, which are like, these are wireless. These are Bluetooth. I have Lightning headphones, but I don't have any USB-C headphones. You see, I never plug headphones into the controller. Most of the time when I play online, I'm not talking to other people. I'm more of a solitary player. I couldn't find the turnip lady. I gave up.
You had 7 minutes.
I gave up. I got plenty of money in that game. Thank you. Oh, that's nice and hot, too. My wife is awesome. Save episode. Get well soon, Lloyd. Nah, we'll say... Oh, I gotta see what we talked about on the show today. I say the Switch Pro controller is fantastic, except for the D-pad. The D-pad needs to be better. Stadia Pro is free. New games on the way. New deals are here. And APK and an APK breakdown. do the show notes. Publish. All right, the podcast is now out there. It will take, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so to populate to all of your favorite podcasting apps. Why are they important? Because, okay, so Kevin, in Animal Crossing, you buy the turnips on Sunday, and then throughout the week, you can sell them for different prices. So you'll go and you'll talk to Timmy and Tommy, and they'll be like, oh, the turnip prices today are 200. If you bought them at 100, now you doubled your money. And if you are a part of our Discord, we have a channel about Animal Crossing where people trade, like we'll say, hey, everybody, I got 500 bells for the turnips today. This is the code. Everybody come to my island and sell. It's awesome. Looking forward to the video coming out. You just watched the video, Fritz. Feel free to watch it again. Oh man, that tea helps so much. Oh, let's check the poll. See what people said. %85 said yes. Well, that's good to know. We actually had a reply. What kind of tea? English black tea. With a little bit of sweetener in it and nothing else. Justin, I'm not even kidding. They call it the stock market. Because I guess turnips are a stock. Which is hilarious and brilliant. I've never had Earl Grey. This right here is the only type of tea that I have ever tried that I like. But I've never had Earl Grey there, Captain Picard. Is it bitter at all? The first time that I had this tea was a friend of mine who lives in England. We did this thing. We did it live on my Twitch channel where I found a bunch of American junk food, and we boxed my wife. Well, okay, let me say that the right way.
My wife is the one that did this, not me. I put in no work whatsoever. My wife is the one that did it.
All right, so my wife got a bunch of junk food, American junk food, and we boxed it up and sent it to England. And his
wife, because he did no work in any of this. His wife got a bunch
of junk food, British junk food, and mailed it to us. And then we did a live stream of us trying each other's junk food. So like we opened up the box and we had the camera here, and we tried all the different things. We did it actually twice. We called it the hell did we call it? The Cross-Atlantic Snack Exchange, because it was case. The Cross-Atlantic Snack Exchange. Like that. All right, the Cross-Atlantic Snack Exchange. And then we tried each other's junk food. We did it once around Easter time, and we sent them like Cadbury cream eggs and stuff like that because they have different Cadbury cream eggs over there. And then we did it again at Halloween time. It was fun. And one of the things he sent was actual English black tea. And that was the first time that I tried it, and I hated it. But then my wife put sweetener in it, and I was like, oh, it's awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't trust a viewer to send in a snack. No, thank you. One of the podcasts that I used to listen to, I don't really listen to much anymore, the Morning Stream, they have a segment where their listeners will send in snacks and they will try them. The whole idea of me doing a video of importing snacks, I mean, that just, I can feel my waistline expanding already. Sorry, I was just closing all the extra windows that I had. Well, everybody, you guys are awesome. We've been going for about 2.5 hours almost now. So I think it's about time I wrap it up. I'll hang out for another 5 or so minutes just to answer any last minute questions that people have. But here's our 5-minute warning. So if there's any other questions that you guys want to make sure that I answer, make sure you ask him now. Speaking of tea, any thoughts on Stadiacast mugs? So here's the thing. We were like, I have a way to make mugs, but like, it's hard for me to share that revenue with Lloyd. Lloyd has a way to make mugs, but it's hard for Lloyd to share that revenue with me. So what we were hoping is that once we got monetized, we would be able to do merch through YouTube, because we know that there are ways that you can do that, but we haven't gotten that as an option yet. So we were really, really hoping to get that merch, but we haven't. Now, it's not necessarily Stadiacast merch, but I do have, I have a threadless shop, and there is a Stadia shirt that I made, that I drew. I'm trying to get to it right now. And it's called Stadia Storm, and basically it's the Stadia logo has turned into lightning. I hit show. The Stadia logo is here. Let me scroll down a little bit. The Stadia logo has turned into lightning, and it's you know, a cloud, because you know, cloud gaming, and it's raining on an old Blu-ray disc. Thanks, Trev. Oh, and look at that. It looks like it's not... Is it on sale right now? Oh, there's a sale right now. See, I don't control the price of these things. This is on sale right now for $17, and you can get it in whatever color you want. I had one in blue, and my son stole it. Yeah, I drew that on my iPad. Let me see if I can find it. Trying to find it. I don't know where it is. My organization of my... Oh, here it is. My organization of my artwork is bad. So here's the original drawing. Actually, what I can do is I can show you a time lapse of it. So there you go. And it's on sale right now. So if you want a unique Stadia shirt that most people are not going to ever see, then the Stadia Storm shirt is for you, and it's on sale, $3 off right now. You can also get stickers and stuff, but none of the Stadiacast stickers. Just because I don't have a good way to share the revenue that I make from the merch that I sell to Lloyd. We were really hoping that YouTube would help us out with that. If only we knew somebody who worked at Google that could help us out with that. If there was only somebody listening who watches the show that works at Google that could reach out to somebody and say, hey, why don't we let these guys sell merch that we can take a cut of? That's right, Brett. That is where the cloud with the lightning bolt came from. It came from me drawing that. What did you guys think of this new UI of when I do solo streams? Oh, that tea really helped. You guys like it? All right, cool. Now, it won't be like this when Lloyd's here because I have to have a place for two people. Well, I thought about doing this and just putting a line right here and putting me on the left and Lloyd on the right. So it's the same exact UI, but it's just split in half. This is supposed to be a little small. It's really so that you can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at without really being able to see what's on the screen. Reminds you of Mega Man when you go to a high level and it shows the boss. Nice. All right, well, I think that our 5-minute warning has surpassed. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. Remember to tweet at Lloyd for him to get better soon. And if you haven't already, like the video, hit subscribe, ring the bell, all of the YouTube nonsense that you guys need to do. That really, really does help out. YouTubers would not ask you guys to do this stuff if it didn't help. And follow me on Twitter. I'm at RunJumpStomp on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter because the more people that follow me on Twitter, the more likely it is that we can get, things. Other companies will interact with us more. All right. Bye, everyone. Stay awesome.